horsepower was quite enough. So for you, we've returned with something very special. Now this is a little something our Executive Vice President of Global Product Development likes to affectionately refer to as the Big Nasty. It's the 2015 Corvette Z06. Now how did we take our Stingray, which is our most powerful standard Corvette ever, and make it even meaner? Well, we co-developed the Z06 in conjunction with our race spec C7R. Now, if you'd like to see that vehicle, you can check it out when you head over to the rest of Javits in the connector that we have there. But never before in the history of our Corvette racing program have the street and track versions of our Halo vehicles shared so much in common. As a matter of fact, the frame on that race car is virtually unchanged from the one that you see right there before you. Now, that's our new aluminum frame. We introduced that last year, and if you recall, we built a laser brazing facility at our Bowling Green, Kentucky assembly plant so that we could produce these frames in-house, and that brought the cost down exponentially, which is why we can offer this aluminum frame on the Stingray, our standard Corvette. With this new frame, it's 99 pounds lighter and 57% stiffer than the last generation frame. Now that added stiffness has allowed us to offer two things for the first time ever. On coupe models for Z06, you get a standard removable roof panel that pops off. It's made out of solid carbon fiber. It weighs just 16 pounds and it stores right in the hatch. Now would you believe that with this top off, the new Z06, this coupe here has 20% more rigidity than the last generation Z06 with a fixed roof. And with that top in place, you get 60% more stiffness. That's just going to translate to better handling for you on the road and the track. But the other first, and for you, New York City, the world debut of the first ever modern Z06 convertible. Now, prior to the vehicle that you're looking at here, there's only been one other Corvette convertible with a Z06 package. That was all the way back in 1963. That's the year we introduced the Z06 RPO code. Now, of the 199 Corvettes ordered that year with Z06, one was a convertible. Now, since then, we've had massive horsepower and torque gains, but they've prevented us from removing this B-pillar entirely without sacrificing the structural integrity of the frame. We, unlike some of our competitors, have never been willing to sacrifice the overall performance by adding weighty cross beams. So we've waited, and we waited until we had the technology to produce a frame like the one you see before you. A frame that was so strong, it could accommodate the convertible configuration with zero structural modifications. Now this is virtually unheard of, and what it means is the coupe and convertible iterations of Z06 share identical power to weight ratios, perfect 50-50 weight distribution, and they'll both throw you in the back of your seat from 0 to 60 in under 3.5 seconds. Now underneath this carbon fiber hood, we started with a 6.2 liter aluminum block V8, the LT1. Now, if you're a fan of General Motors and you're a car buff, then you know we love ourselves a 6.2. That 376 cubic inches has a special place in our hearts. We've had a lot of 6.2s over the years. But I want to stress the new 6.2 is part of our 5th gen of small block engines that we introduced last year. All new technologies, new architecture all the way around. So we started with that LT1. And then we added a 1.7 liter Eaton supercharger because here at Chevrolet we ascribe to the belief that more is more. And that put it up to a mind-blowing 625 plus horsepower and 635 plus pound-feet of torque. Now that supercharger spins at 20,000 RPM, 5,000 more than the former LS9's Eaton supercharger in the Corvette ZR1. Now the plus on those figures, you can think of that as an asterisk. We've got to finalize those numbers with SAE. And if you know us, you know we're very conservative with our estimates, so we have no doubt we'll achieve that 625, 635 mark. Just stay tuned to see if we surpass it, which we do more often than not. So this new power plant, it's dubbed the LT4. It's going to retain direct injection, continuously variable valve timing, and active fuel management that was introduced last year on the LT1. Cylinder deactivation on a 625 horsepower vehicle. Those are going to come together to give you exceptional fuel economy. The Stingray already achieves an EPA rating, 29 highway miles per gallon. It is more efficient than some of our competitors' family sedans. It's the most fuel-efficient vehicle out there with over 450 horsepower, and we do expect to have similar bragging rights for the Z06. Now, the engine's made it standard to a Tremec 7-speed manual transmission with active rev matching. The rev matching will anticipate your gear selection and maintain throttle as you shift. You don't have to heel toe it. You get a smoother and faster shift. You look like a pro, But if you want to master those gears old school style, well, we don't want to take that thrill away from you, so you can deactivate the rev matching from the paddles on the steering wheel of the manual. But for the first time ever, because this 7th generation Corvette is all about first, we're going to offer you an available 8-speed automatic transmission. A brand new transmission that is purpose-built, designed specifically for the Z06, because nothing existed in the supplier space that could accommodate the massive horsepower and torque numbers cranking out of the LT4 and still fit in the compact space requirements of the Z06. Or the Corvette, the C7 architecture, really. If you don't know, we do have a rear-mounted transmission, so that does restrict us to needing a very compact one at that. Now, this new 8-speed automatic is track-ready all day long, and I love to tell this part. It boasts shift speeds that are 0.08 of a second faster than PDK in the Porsche 911. So if you're an automotive enthusiast, you know that's the benchmark for a lot of GT cars out there, and we're very proud to be able to brag about that. We're also proud to say that 8-speed automatic will be the new available automatic transmission for the Corvette Stingray in 2015 as well. Now let's talk about the look. This already looks even more aggressive than the Stingray. That's thanks in part to the fenders that are pushed out over 2 inches in the front, over 3 inches in the rear, and those accommodate the massive 285, 335 tires staggered on 19 and 20-inch wheels. All the venting is functional. We've got a heat extractor up front to cool your engine compartment and reduce front-end lift, standard front and rear brake cooling ducts, and the quarter panel vents introduced on Stingray remain. Those are cooling your transmission and your electronic limited slip differential, but for Z06, we've added an air blade that forces 60% more cool air through those tunnels. Now you'll notice they're absent on the convertible. Our design just doesn't have any space to accommodate for them with the convertible components. Rest assured, the cooling is just as efficient. It's done from below on convertible models. Now the Z06 is available in 3 levels of aerodynamic appointment. So there's the standard car. That's going to have a front chin splitter spoiler and a rear spoiler similar to the Z51 spoiler that you can see on the torch red Stingray on the floor. If that's not enough for you, you can add the carbon aero group. That's featured on all 3 here. Now that's going to give you the carbon fiber front chin splitter spoiler, the carbon fiber rocker panels, and a carbon fiber rear spoiler that's larger. You can have those exposed, or you can have them painted in what we call carbon flash, which is this metallic black here. But with the carbon aero group, the Z06 already achieves 4 times as much downforce as the Z06 without it. But if that's not enough, well, you can still add more. You can go for the Z07 performance package. Now, Z07 is going to give you some very, very track-focused appointments. Things like more downforce thanks to the fender spats with the winglets up front that you see there. You're also going to get this rear transparent portion of the spoiler here designed to be raised to add downforce. With this package, you get the most track-capable Corvette we've ever offered, and you get the most downforce of any production model in General Motors history. But we didn't stop there. Z07 also adds these Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 tires. Now these are a stickier, more track-oriented compound. They're the closest you're going to get from the factory to a race slick. These replace the standard Michelin Pilot Super Sport tires, which are kind of a dual-purpose street meets track tire. And then Z07 is also going to give you these cross-drilled carbon ceramic matrix rotors. Now these are collectively 26 pounds lighter than the Z06's standard steel rotor, and they dissipate heat more efficiently, so you'll suffer less brake fade after a long day at the track. Now when we're talking about the track, well, this is designed to be track ready right off the showroom floor, so you're going to get some Track Essential standard. An electronic limited slip differential, so when you mash your right foot into that accelerator, the wheels bite in on the line and you go. You're also going to get dry sump oiling, and that's going to replace your traditional oil pan. So an engine with an oil pan below where the oil is housed in the pan, when you take on a high-speed turn, what do you suppose happens to all the oil in the pan? You got it. One side, right? It momentarily starves your engine of that vital lubrication and impedes your performance overall. Dry sump is utilized in high-performance applications. It keeps your engine adequately lubricated when you take on a hairpin turn. And then you're going to get magnetic ride control, MRC. Now that's General Motors' groundbreaking technology that utilizes a magnetoreological fluid in the dampers of our suspension system. This fluid has the amazing ability to change its viscosity from one of a very thin liquid like baby oil to a very thick cream, if you will, like peanut butter. That means your suspension can go from being a little softer, more touring style, to firm and planted. As amazing as that is, it can do it in milliseconds. It reads the road and it responds accordingly. MRC is something that we get rave reviews about. Automotive publications brag about it continuously. Motor Trend's Randy Popes took our last Gen ZR1 out to Laguna Seca, and he said it handled so nimbly you can push it further in the corners overall. And that's really what it's about, because that means you improve your lap times overall. Now when we open up the doors, The redesign continues, so we started where we left off on Stingray, and that's a great starting point because our Corvette Stingray has been awarded one of Ward's 10 Best Interiors. That is the most prestigious award in automotive interior design, and we won it right alongside a $300,000 Rolls-Royce Wraith. So that's the level we're competing at when we're talking about materials, craftsmanship, fit and finish, etc. The Z06 is going to get an exclusive flat bottom steering wheel. It's a little more sporting. It's got a carbon fiber spoke. You can get it suede so you have better grip, like you can see in the Laguna Blue convertible we have here. And then we've got the available competition seats. So those feature those aggressive side bolsters and the carbon fiber ports that will accommodate a race harness. Now we also have a brand new technology for 2015, and this is going to be available on Stingray and Z06. This is something that we're the first to offer, and we're very proud of that. We've developed it in conjunction with Cosworth. They have a history with our Corvette racing program and a long and storied history in F1 racing. It's called the Performance Data Recorder, or the PDR. It's got a forward-facing camera that's mounted right here. When you turn it on, it's going to record your entire track experience. That's awesome, but you can do that with a GoPro, right? So what this is going to do, it's going to take that to the next level. Not only do you get the video footage, but it pairs that footage with GPS telemetrics taken from your vehicle's navigation system to create digital lap overlays. You're going to be able to compare your consecutive laps to see where you performed best, where you can improve. So let's say you head to Watkins Glen or Lime Rock and you make a few laps. Well, the PDR is going to tell you that your best turn 4 was on lap 3, and maybe your worst one was your first lap. And here's what you need to do. You can modify your shift points, change your steering inputs. Again, become a better driver, improve your lap times overall. But what good is that if you can't brag about it to your friends? So you can download all the video footage with all the specifications right onto an SD card in a beautiful shareable format so you can post it on your Facebook timeline. You can even utilize, when you pull over and park, our 4G LTE to upload that via your laptop or other device. Now, if you guys have stuck around, you're probably wondering, what's the price? So am I, because it's the #1 question that we get here. I would love to know the price, but we haven't announced pricing yet on the Z06. There's only one quote I can give you with regard to our pricing. If you could afford the last Z06, this is going to be a bit more, thanks to all the technology we've got on it, but we don't want to alienate that buyer. So we do think if you're a former Z06 buyer, you'd definitely be able to afford this when we do finalize pricing. With that said, the first time we took our test car out to our Milford Proving Grounds, the very first time when that test mule went around the laps, it beat the record held by the ZR1. So you're going to get performance on par with the ZR1 at a price point closer in step to the former Z06. You have to wait a bit. The coupe is due out in the beginning of 15. We're shooting for January, with the convertible coming out hopefully towards those summer months, although we haven't made an official release date. We've got that in mind. We know that's what you guys want. That's what we'd like to do too. Now, if you guys have any additional questions on Z06, my name is Heather. I would be more than happy to answer them for you. I can even sign you up for updates specific to the Z06 right from General Motors. And everything you've been kind enough to stick around and listen to is not a script that I memorized. So yes, I know what I'm talking about, and I'd love to talk about it with you. Thanks so much for stopping by and visiting us here in Chevrolet, where we are proud to be the leaders in performance both on and off the track.